In general, do you think some of these upcoming TV series should have post-credit scenes?
They don't want to leave a lingering, but tune in for Vision Quest in 18 months or whatever, not know if the show's going to be well received or it's going to be a hit.
Or if the thing they're teasing will be the next thing because the schedules had to change. Or we just teased 10,000 Kangs and oops.
I know. Oops.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. It's our headline show today. Hit that beautiful graphic! Woo. Thrilled to be here on a Monday. I'm Zach Huddleston. Joining me today, you know them, you love them. It's Brandon Barrick and Jessica Clemons.
Wow.
I should have spaced out their names.
Yes. We didn't have a camera set up for that specific shot.
I think it's also most of the time we're sharing a camera.
Yeah. Oh, when we have the 4-person setup, it's a little different. Yes.
I'm used to being on the outside, so I make a lot of trash and I can throw it away. I'm never in the middle anymore.
Oh, here we've got a.
It's okay. I just
threw it on me.
Fitting. Okay, we're still talking about processing, contemplating Agatha All Along. So we've got some kind of lingering questions we're going to get to today. We're going to especially discuss some new information shared by showrunner Jac Schaeffer. She did an interview.
She did a few interviews at the end of last week.
She's been out there doing the press, and she has answered some questions in interesting ways that are thought-provoking, so we're going to cover those. But first, let's start off with some actual headline-y, newsy type stuff from our friends at the other studio. DC got some news out there. They continue full steam ahead with some casting. They cast a young actress from the 3 Body Problem, Eve Ridley, as, and Evan might help me in the pronunciation of this character, Ruthie Marie Knoll. Close enough?
Yeah.
A character in the upcoming Supergirl film. This, along with the casting of Matthias Schoenaerts as Krem of the Yellow Hills, indicates that they're probably going to be following the Woman of Tomorrow storyline pretty closely from the comics. Now, Evan, you are a fan of that storyline. You've consumed that storyline. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, once we heard the announcement, I decided to take a read. It's a really beautiful piece of work. We have an image from the comic right now. So that's Krem on the left-hand side right there. Krem and Ruth, they kind of are the engine of the story where Krem kind of does something to Ruth's family. Ruth is seeking revenge and she enlists the help of Supergirl. And they kind of go on this really long journey together. I highly encourage everyone to read it, especially since with the casting of both of those characters, it really seems like, okay, we're going to take this story. And that personally for me is very exciting.
Is Ruth the one with the cornrows?
What?
In that photo.
Oh, in the photo. Pull it up. I don't think she's in the photo there.
Is this?
I think that. That's
kind
her.
of a Shi'ar-looking headpiece there. But she's not in that
a little
photo.
bit.
That looks
a little bit
big,
like the Shi'ar.
Barbarian cornrow man.
I think the person on the ground. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah.
Is this an off-Earth storyline?
Yes, it's completely off Earth. I believe in the comic. I don't think they visit Earth at all. Actually, it's them kind of going on galactic space hopping adventures. They take a lot of public transit together. A lot of space public transit.
Is there a director for this project?
There is a director, I believe. Let me look it up right now.
I know when James Gunn announced his project and they were saying the inspirations for things, he very much indicated that this comic storyline would be the basis for the Supergirl movie, and which maybe makes sense as they want to distance from the Flash.
And make the Superman movie and the Supergirl movie just very different, right?
Yeah. Will be directed by Craig Gillespie, who did I, Tonya, and some other movies in that kind of vein. I will say, something about this story that's very interesting is the kind of relationship that these Superman, Supergirl, these are god-like figures, right? Something that's very different from Marvel. So it's interesting to see how they deal with this kind of level of power, what that means as a normal person like Ruth interacting with someone as powerful as this, and how that person struggles over time. So I highly recommend everyone check it out. Even if you're I'm not a big DC fan, but I think it's worthwhile reading regardless.
I dig that. I like to starting Superman and Supergirl very far apart, so that maybe when they do overlap in the future,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, there'll be more. I think is that a 2026
Yeah, I
movie?
think so. Yeah,
So
2026.
we still got a while. They'll slowly, as they did with the Superman movie, we'll get like janitor number 4 casting eventually. You know what I mean? They slow roll all of
My
those.
favorite character.
But exciting to hear about it. Moving on, D23 Brazil is happening this week. D23 is the kind of Disney promotional festival extravaganza.
Their self-con, yes.
Yes, that we of course had one in Anaheim this summer, where we got some fun news and trailers. They're doing another one in Brazil this week, this Friday, right? Is it, or maybe it goes through the weekend? But
Friday,
they're
Saturday,
announcing-
Sunday, yes. But it starts Friday.
And so we're probably not going to cover it live here on the Breakroom, but we are, fingers crossed, hoping for some interesting news, maybe some new trailers to come out of there. We'll probably definitely cover that next Monday, and there'll probably be some coverage on the new Rockstars channel. So follow along with updates for that. Notably, there's a big Captain America Brave New World booth. We have a fun graphic to share here of the floor plan of the convention.
Listen,
Pause your internet because the floor plan has dropped.
Screen grab this quick, okay? But it's just fun to try to infer the importance of different properties based on the size of the booth or the
We
placement.
should have green screened this like a weatherman so we could stand in front of it.
oh yeah.
We did.
I'm Brave New World.
Well, listen, Captain America update said Brave New World will have the biggest booth. Does that look like the
That
biggest booth
sounds
to
like
you?
propaganda.
Moana
for Captain America
Captain
updates.
America updates. Yeah.
The Moana booth appeared to be a bigger square footage.
Yeah.
I
Really
don't want to.
quick, Zach, or not Zach, Evan, go look up what Moana update said on Twitter.
Are they
Moana updates is like,
No, we got
we
the big-
won D23 Brazil.
But it makes sense. That's kind of the one of the next. Obviously, that'll be the first Marvel movie next year. The next Marvel movie we get. That's probably one of the biggest tent poles of Disney coming up. So it makes sense that they would promote that a lot. We might get a new trailer.
Yeah, I mean, D23 in Brazil, we were talking about, D23 here in the US came 2 weeks after Comic-Con, and we were all a little underwhelmed at how much Marvel and Star Wars news we got, because D23 is like Marvel, Star Wars, but it's also
Pixar.
20th Century, it's also Pixar, it's also Disney Animation, it's also Disney Television, it's Descendants, it's Hulu, it's Grey's Anatomy, like it's so much stuff. Now there's been a little bit of time. Last week, for the Agatha finale, they put out that Disney Plus trailer that had like short little 20-second teasers of upcoming projects. At D23 in the US back in August, they had a longer Born Again trailer, which the trailer we saw this last week took elements from that. But I'm wondering if they'll drop like a bigger
Wonder
trailer
Man.
for that. Maybe not Wonder Man, but even like Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Ooh, yeah.
Like they showed longer clips of that at D23. So I think we might get some fuller trailers out of this D23 Brazil. Definitely probably like a new scene from Captain America Brave New World. Probably a new scene from Thunderbolts, I would guess. But I'm expecting some longer trailers based on that Disney Plus trailer we got last week.
Yeah. And it's a big time for Brazilian fan conventions, because
Yeah.
when is CCXP?
That's the first
Shortly
weekend
after,
of
yeah.
December. It's
Okay.
like December, the first weekend.
So about a month from now is CCXP, which is basically Brazilian Comic-Con, and we frequently get some trailers, some news, some casting
like
coming out of that as
last year they had, or in 2022, they had a lot of the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania stuff there. A few years ago, that's where we got the first Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse trailer, came out of CCXP. So, Brazil's got a lot of people, a lot of fans.
it's a big
So
market.
they certainly, the studios like to go down there and kind of like hype them up.
well. Well, I also love that wherever you are, conventions have to take place during the summer.
Oh, that's
It's
true.
like in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the summer right now, so it's like
so
this
it's
is
like-
their July or
Yeah.
June, right?
So like it's
that's
not that hot. It's nice enough for us to be here and not a hurricane or something crazy. Oh, it makes sense.
But it's so sweaty at a con, you'd think they'd do it at a cold time. So that all those sweaty
Was it
bodies-
cold when you went to New York Comic Con, Jess?
Yeah, it was, but
Right?
not inside.
not
I was also
inside,
wearing 3 jackets as Doctor Strange in a brown
smart.
wig. So I remember I kept taking that jacket off and having my friend hold it. But
Yeah.
it was like and cold to me is 50, 60.
50, yeah.
And that's what it
Well,
was.
like fall.
Yes.
I remember growing up going to that convention and then like seeing people in the cosplay and being like, aren't they cold? I'm freezing.
It was cold outside, but inside that place was hot.
Evan was like, these poor booth babes, we need to bundle them up.
Get them a sweater, please.
Oh, here, madam, you may use my hoodie. Madam, can I offer you my Pikachu beanie to keep you warm?
Shout out to if anybody's watching. If we have any Brazilian fans, let us know if you're going to be at D23 or CCX.
Yeah. Can we give you a GoPro?
Yes. We were also commenting again for our super high tech floor plan graphic. I do love the properties in the shows that get translated versus the ones that don't. Something like Percy Jackson or Moana 2, they just keep that exactly the same as the English. But what is it?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is Branca de Neve.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what's Captain America Brave New World is called
Capito America.
Yeah. I do love the things that get changed. Is wonderful.
Well, Moana's her name, so wouldn't that still be Moana in Spanish?
Yeah. And same thing with Percy Jackson.
Same with
right?
Percy
But, like,
But
Jackson.
then why wouldn't Captain America? I guess because
That's
Captain
not
is an honorific.
Captain.
It's like Mr.
Yeah.
And America still can be something else, but those are their names.
America
Should
could
have
be
measured.
something else. Interesting.
I'm sure it
America
could be.
could be something.
It could be
else.
called Basura. some call it Basura.
It's true.
Hey, everybody, if you're watching in the United States of America and you're of legal voting age, vote tomorrow. Have a plan in place. Okay, great.
Have a plan.
Before we get to Agatha, we wanted to thank one of our sponsors today, Dollar Shave Club. Brandon's got a big old box. I got a box. Oh, you got that guy. I got this guy. Okay, look at that. The name right there. If you've ever wanted people to greet you by saying, "Hello, handsome. Nice face you shaved there." Is that the greeting you've always wanted to hear from people?
Dreaming to hear that greeting.
Then you need Dollar Shave Club's high quality but never overpriced shave and grooming products. Want a closer shave? Use Shave Butter, a translucent shaving cream alternative that softens bristly whiskers and allows you to see exactly where you're shaving. You can use their Club Series 6-blade razor and a Club Series diamond grip handle for an incredibly smooth shave. I think we have one of these under the desk somewhere, waiting to sever my artery.
Really should put the cover back on these razors before we shove them back into the
like
desk.
loose razors. I'm gonna reach for a one-shot energy chew. My knuckles have never been more hairless. Okay. The diamond pattern grip on the handle will give you super precise control so you can finally nail the Doctor Strange look you've been waiting for. If you got those tight angles. Or I always think of AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys. He always had some real carved facial hair.
Always thinks of AJ McLean.
When I think of precise facial hair, I think of AJ. But don't take our word for it. Try for yourself. You can visit their site right now for 20% off, $20 or more, and get your products delivered right to your door. Visit dollarshaveclub.com/breakroom. It's on the screen right there. Use our promo code BREAKROOM for 20% off, $20 or more. And remember, however you shave, Dollar Shave Club is here to help you stay handsome.
I always think of Jeffrey Wright in Shaft. He had
He did have
intense
some
facial
yes.
hair in that film.
Jeffrey Wright, man, what a filmography that guy has had.
Yeah.
Just
Let him
the
play
full
Uatu in
he
live
played,
action.
He played Basquiat in a biopic.
Yeah, that was
Basquiat,
really good.
like way back, a young. Go watch that movie. He
It's
looks
really
like a
good.
teenager.
He does. It's like the youngest I think I've seen him. He always reminds me of Stanley Tucci, where I'm like, they can just take a role if they want, but they don't. And then when they do take it, they eat that shit up.
Do you think
Just
it's like a
always
bald
good.
thing? Like
It might
bald-headed
be.
men
And
have
they
no
both
power?
have a gravitas and just like a believability. You see them as like a chief of police or a homeless guy or a president, and you just buy it.
Yeah,
you know, they're so
100%.
good. All-Star. Has he been in the MCU?
Who?
Oh, well, he's the
Stanley
Watcher. He's the
Tucci.
voice of the Watcher. I'm saying Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey
he
Wright
was.
is the voice of the Watch.
And possibly a live-action Watcher. And he's in the DC, well, he's in the Matt Reeves Batverse, of
He
course.
is, he is Detective Gordon.
Not
Lieutenant.
yet. Not yet Commissioner. But put him in everything.
He's no police captain Beck. I'll tell you that right now.
Damn.
Get this freak out of here. You better watch him going back.
Shout out to him on the Penguin.
Dude,
man.
he showed up with the penguin. It was so good.
One
oh,
scene
we're
wonder.
to kill all these people, Sophia. Kind of funny how you went in the house, huh?
Also, I love that guy has like a real life deep Scottish accent.
Yeah.
He's in Chernobyl too, as Eric has
Yes,
pointed
and
out.
our flag means death.
Yeah.
He had a notable
Yeah.
run as a pirate in that. Anyways, okay.
Did you guys confirm if the guy from the councilman in the Penguin is the guy from I Think You Should Leave? The councilman that he clips the nose on?
Yeah.
Is he the guy that does the skeleton song?
No, that's not the
The bones
skeleton
are their
guy.
money.
Yeah.
That's that one actor. I don't think those are the same people.
you know they're not
but
the
I
same
know
guy?
the guy from the Bones
think they're
song,
the
and I
same-
don't
okay.
know who Councilman Haiti was.
Oh, okay.
I know the bones. Man.
Come on the show, Bones Man or Councilman.
look it up just on the side. Look it up
I'll
on the
look-
side.
I'll look it up,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that's
We
not
should
the same guy.
do a game on the break room called Pliers or Liars, and it's you get asked a question.
No, we shouldn't. You should.
If you lie, you get the pliers.
You play by
the
your
pliers on
Oh
the
my
nose.
god, I can't think. There's a lot of painful things you can do with a pair of pliers.
I
but
mean,
that has to be one of the worst.
That's the worst.
man.
That one
Yeah.
is like, because that's
Yeah.
like
Oh.
such a specific
We
thing.
are- so
I
sensitive.
am concerned about gun control in this country, but anyone can go buy a pair of needle nose pliers.
That's
and now
true.
we all know.
Yeah,
what
but
to
it
do.
takes a real man to come up to you with a needle nose plier.
If you've ever
Also, yeah, try and get that on one shot.
By the way,
you're
we're
missed.
talking about episode 6 of The Penguin, which if you're not watching that show,
What's
start
wrong
watching.
with you?
That show's so damn good. But also, the needle nose pliers are very small. The accuracy to
Yeah, I
immediately
know, one grab.
like the aim.
But it's so penguin coded because even
Yeah.
like as a boy he was just so weak, and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna use some pliers. I'm gonna use some pliers.
Hey, what do we got in the glove box? Vic! Where's my gun? Oh, God, I gotta use some pliers.
So good. Okay, let's get into some Agatha lingering questions and answers. No, not so lingering answers. So Jac Schaeffer's she's done a bunch of interviews recently. Namely, she did a big one with Variety and Entertainment Weekly and The Wrap and House of R. And when asked by Variety who Nicholas Scratch's father is, she said, "The truth is that even if I did have an answer, I don't cover it in this property. So it is fodder for another day that I maybe don't have control over." Which is a really interesting thing. It's not, that means there is an answer.
Yeah.
She kind of doesn't get to answer it in this show, so she's not going to plant a flag on it. But it is important.
I mean, you would imagine in the writer's room they would have an answer, right? They probably talked about it, batted it around.
The truth is that even if I did have an answer, so she doesn't have an answer, I don't cover it in this property because she never had to think about it. So it is fodder for a story for another day that I maybe don't have control on it because Marvel has control over what.
Right, and if they say they did another season of this show or they addressed it somewhere else, they could decide at some point to be like, no, it was actually Wenwu. Wenwu's the father of
Get out.
Nicholas
I think
Scratch.
I think an interesting part of that, what that information that she did give, she never said she wanted to do it. She
Right.
just said like, I don't talk about it in the story because it doesn't matter. And a big part of the series overall was her being like, if it has nothing to do with this storyline, it's just extra stuff that we didn't need, which is what she talks about with, and stop me if we're going to talk about this soon. In one of the interviews, she talks about why we didn't see Rio and Agatha really be in love, like them actually together. She was like, it's a different story. It doesn't have anything to do with this one. So I'm like, I don't think she really even cared.
Yeah, if it's not moving the plot forward, right? It's just an extra piece of information. Like, yeah, that's good. No need to waste time on it. But it is interesting that it's fodder for another story, which, could be a little bit of her also advocating for like, hey, give us a season 2 and bring me back to do it. Or who knows what. But, it does lead you to believe that like, whatever that answer is, it's not just a random villager or something like that. Probably there is like maybe the potential for an interesting answer there. But this show didn't hint at it or anything like that. So, it was obviously Mephisto.
I hate that we were everyone was immediately like, it's got to be some guy. What guy is it? It has to be some man. I refuse to believe that you guys are not putting a man in this.
Right. Well, and then, the whole thing surrounding Nicholas's birth, there was some interesting dialogue and some interesting words, right, that Agatha said. And so when asked about, I made you from scratch, right, Agatha says about Nicholas, obviously that has a couple interesting points to it. Nicholas Scratch is the character's name in the comics, so specifically using that. People were like, does that mean made you from scratch, made you from nothing, or made you from component parts? Does that mean there was magic involved? Or what? Obviously, the normal birth process is you're creating a human being from scratch, right? So you're just using that language interesting. And Jac Schaeffer said this is something that she made herself. It required no lying and no conning. And there's something in her that is pure and beautiful about creation.
That's cute.
Yeah. So just to say, like, there is a magic in the biology of the human body and the fact that people can create other human beings in their body. And there's a different kind of magic than the kind of deceptive magic that Agatha usually practices. That's kind of what I took away from this quote.
I also think which they did do with their research was like, femininity has a lot to do with witchcraft and covens and all that stuff. But it's like, so if you take an everyday normal woman that is not a witch, put a step on that and make her a witch, how would she give birth? Could she make it by herself? And it's like, if you're using the components of like biology to make a child, make that person a witch, and you wouldn't need the components of like insemination. You wouldn't need that. She would just make it like a piece of herself. Calcium, protein, all those things.
It isn't. The more I think about it too, it's like we had the Salemites, right? The original coven in Salem, and they had the Salem 7, which appeared to be like 7 women who were the daughters of those witches that died. And as far as we know, we never saw like the male counterparts to these witches. So maybe there was something with the Salemites where they were all creating. That's how they were creating progeny through their coven. And Agatha either interrupted that process by killing all of them or didn't want to be a part of it and did it her own way in a different type of magic. Because she says, like, I said no spells or I spoke no incantations or something like that when she's talking about Nicholas Scratch. So, yeah, I do wonder if she rejected whatever magic her coven had been using to create life and she did it a different way. I don't know. It is a very interesting line. And I think it's a smart kind of mystery to add into the show that you don't have to answer. That leaves us all like wondering, like, well, what could it be? What could it be? Who could have done it?
Yeah, and I think as to Jessica's point, right? Like, also, even though these are kind of fun mysteries that add to the vibes of the show, but also keeps us focused on, it's mainly about her relationship with her son, right? And like, you don't have to worry about like how everything came to be. We want to be invested in that so that when that kind of falls apart, we are emotionally invested in that, right?
And as soon as he starts coughing, don't go to sleep, man.
Oh,
You can't.
anytime
Don't
a cute
let your
little
guard
kid
down.
starts coughing.
Gives that a little... No.
He would have been yanked if he was awake.
No. She would have fought him off.
Yeah.
She would have been like, No.
Let's also talk about the last of a post-credit scene, the lack of a post-credit scene, in the show. Not a lot of Marvel properties have been missing them. Of course, the list is pretty short. Endgame just had the dink, dink, dink of, from the cave. Werewolf by Night didn't have one. A few others. But even a lot of the Disney Plus shows have had some kind of a post-credit scene. WandaVision famously had her in the cabin, right? Jac Schaeffer said she revealed that it was a Marvel decision to not include a post-credit scene, even though she had a number of tags written for the show. And then, this is a great quote. She said, "They're so fun to write because you're writing the promise without having to deliver on anything," which is the argument a lot of people have made against some of the previous Marvel post-credit scenes, right? Clea shows up and or Firefox or whatever, right? And they don't have any plan for that character other than, isn't it cool that they're here?
No.
Which makes sense that Marvel's now going back on that, and they're like, oh, it actually has to serve some sort of outcome. Because even if she did write, like, because wasn't that what James Gunn also said? Was like, yeah, I'm no longer dealing with the Guardians, so whoever next has to deal with this. And he made it like incredibly hard for Taika Waititi and like Thor Ragnarok or something. He was just like, yeah, I don't have to deal with this. Have fun laying this up. So it makes sense that Marvel's like, we're not going to give you a post-credit scene because we don't even know what it would be. And if we're going to make you in the installment with White Vision or Vision Quest, it somehow has to lift to that probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't even they have not started writing Vision Quest or what?
I'm sure they have some like story ideas in place because
It's coming out next year.
Yeah.
I think that's a 2026.
26, yeah.
Thank God.
But if they're saying they've got James Spader coming back as Ultron,
they must
something's in
have
the
some
works,
sort of
right?
plan.
James Spader's coming back as Ultron. How did I not hear about that?
Yeah.
That's so weird. What the hell is he doing?
He's gonna be
Well,
Ultron.
that's the question.
And I heard this time he's doing it live action.
Oh, and I'm
CG.
Yeah, he's putting the Ultron suit on.
They're bringing in the penguin makeup guy to make
what
him
was his
Ultron.
character in The Office, Mr. California
Yeah,
or whatever?
yeah.
They're like, oh shit, isn't that California?
There's a great edit of scenes from Avengers 2, but Ultron's dialogue is replaced by Robert California's dialogue. And
That's so funny.
It fits pretty well.
Yeah, I bet it does.
It's not that different
It's
than
the same
movie
character.
itself.
It's
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
voice, and it's just James Spader being James Spader.
James Spader. But Jac Schaeffer did reveal she had a tag for WandaVision, an alternate post-credit scene for WandaVision, where Doctor Strange would have shown up, a sling ring portal would appear, and Wanda would close it immediately, forcing Strange to have to show up in person to hop in his
Oh, that would have been really
little car
fun.
or
That would have
whatever.
been really great.
Setting up Multiverse of Madness when they did meet in person, of course, but also probably good that you can then have how their meet in Multiverse of Madness be more organic to that movie and not have it already be kind of
But that would just show how strong she is, and be like, oh, she is extremely strong to just do that.
I would have liked that even if it's just a sling ring portal opens up and she just closes it.
Yeah,
You never
she just
even see
closes
who's
it.
on
Yeah.
the other side, right?
And he's like, no, thank you.
Now I gotta walk to this weird cabin.
Now I gotta take a plane. I do miss the days of when they were shooting the next movie already, and they would just put the scene in as a post credit. Those were always fun. I liked those more.
I mean, it makes sense to do that more also with the movies than it does for the series. I still think they're still trying to figure out what to do with the series now that they split it into like 4 umbrellas and it's now cinematic universe, animation, television, and spotlight. They're probably like, we're already dealing with too much.
Yeah, agreed. And like, you hope as a showrunner and as a fan of a series that like they stick the landing enough in the final scene.
Yeah,
you don't need a post credit, and that was a fun ending, right? Them walking it off up the stairs, right? Ghost and boy is a fun ending, right? You don't need anything after that, right?
I mean, like one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to post credit scenes is the one at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, where you see Thanos' ship approaching them as they're like, we did it. Asgard is a people, not a place.
You mean Ragnarok.
Sorry, Ragnarok.
I was Love and Thunder, that wasn't it. Okay.
Mix it up in my head, but yes that Ragnarok. One like immediately undercuts the ending that you just got.
So they're all gonna die. But it sucks because I feel like that entire movie was just layup for that. Like it was they threw away that entire film for that. They were like, yep, here you go. And I was like, why'd you put that in there?
Yeah, 1000%. So you guys feel like do you think some of these upcoming TV series should have post-credit scenes? Do you think that like this line about Marvel like saying we don't need one for this is because they want to move away from these things, this thing that they've established over the last 10 years, or is it because they don't know what's going to happen next?
I bet it's also a little bit of like Marvel, if there's not a direct connection, like these characters are not about to appear in Brave New World or Thunderbolts or whatever, right? They don't want to leave a lingering like, but tune in for Vision Quest in 18 months or whatever, not knowing like, when they film this show, they don't know if the show's going to be well received or it's going to be a hit.
Or if the thing they're teasing will be the next thing because the schedules had to change. Or we just teased 10,000 Kangs and oops.
I know. Oops. I do.
Not gonna see those Kangs anytime soon.
I think they will start serving up these post credits. I think they have a not a liberty, but like they're kind of forced to have to do it in the movies. But I do think they're gonna start doing it more so in TV and movies once we get Doomsday and Secret Wars ready. Because I think those are the only things that the post credit scene needs to like launch to as a reminder, like this is still coming, which they did in Quantumania.
That's a great point. Do we think? What are the odds that all 3 of next year's Marvel movies have a post-credit teasing Doomsday?
Fantastic Four will.
For sure.
Fantastic Four has.
That might not even have a post-credit. That might have a middle of the movie kind of a tease, right?
I would think Captain America has a tease for Thunderbolts, right? Not Doom?
It makes sense too. But I do think, it will. I do think they're going to do that Quantumania route where the ending is going to be such a giant jump to the Doomsday. Because it's like, that's what we're all leading to. That's what everybody here is leading to. So I'm like, every character needs to remember, like, it could be like to Thunderbolts, but I'm like, if I don't see him in Thunderbolts, what am I gonna get then? Do we think he's gonna show up in Thunderbolts? Do you think
Doom?
No, I almost said Falcon. Oh my God, Sam Wilson.
Oh, Captain America will show up in
Thunderbolts.
It's weird if he doesn't.
Those 2 movies.
Is it weird if he doesn't because she's for the CIA, not the president? Because he's for the president.
But he's not for the president. He's an independent contractor.
But he's being called by the president. So I'm like, okay, the president's not working with the CIA lady right now.
Okay, so the end of Captain America: Brave New World, credits roll. Cut to, it's like Harrison Ford, Thunderbolt Ross, and he's like all beat up. He's like, hey, sorry, Sam, I really lost my temper there. It's pretty crazy. And Sam's like, don't worry about it, man. It's going to be okay. And he's like, I actually just got an invite. We got to go down to there's a special dinner being held tonight at one of the consulates. The consulate of Latveria.
Doom. Now, why is his eye messed up?
Because he was in a fight.
But if you get beat up while Hulk, you're fine when you convert back.
Well,
we don't know what serum this one is.
Because Sam Wilson is going to suck all the Hulk juice out of
Say what?
Ross.
I'm going to suck the Hulk juice out
of me? Pardon me?
He's going to bite him on the neck, and he's going to be like, I'll show you Blade.
Oh, no.
Wait, that's all it takes? Human teeth can't penetrate Red Hulk skin.
You've never met Sam Wilson.
Okay. Damn.
He got his teeth replaced.
He's got
when he went to Wakanda, he was like, take these bad boys out. Put in some.
That's wild.
He's the day flyer.
Adamantium fangs? That's pretty badass.
Eli Finelli.
Vibranium, yeah.
Eli Finelli asking, could limiting the post-credit scenes make the ones they do have more impactful?
100%, which is what I think they're going to do with the movies and they're going to do with the series. But it's also like, I'm more nervous about the lineup because I'm like, what the hell is the post-credit scene going to be for Ironheart? Like, what the fuck? What is that post-credit scene?
If all
They
of
filmed
them,
it 3 years ago.
People forget that they had those shoots. People were taking pictures on the street of them in those outfits fighting
the
years
post-credit
ago.
should
The post-credit, it's a tease for Guardians 3.
Damn. Cold as ice.
That's a big ship.
Didn't you see a piece of it? Didn't you see a piece of Ironheart?
One of the-
at
Oh,
one of the-
At D23 2022, they showed a
2022.
trailer for Ironheart.
That's wild.
2022.
What if there's a stinger that says like 3 real world years later or whatever?
Yeah,
Like,
I think the post credit for Ironheart should be Anthony Ramos sitting there being like, "Look at me now! Look what they did to my face! I've aged."
I do like, when post credits feel like required. They don't feel as special. And inevitably then some of them are going to be letdowns or whatever, right? So that I agree. Who was that said that? Evan?
Eli Finelli.
Eli Finelli. When they are there, they should feel necessary, they should feel special, and they should get you amped. I also think like a lot of the movies that haven't had them, like Endgame doesn't need it because you you finish watching Endgame, you're satisfied. You don't need a tease of what's to come. You're too busy processing what you've just seen. Whereas other movies, maybe you
Venom
do
had
want.
2 that were, one was like kind of fun.
I didn't understand the last one.
Yeah, the second one was weird. I mean,
like, what am I
the DCEU, rest in peace, ended its final movie, Aquaman 2, with the lamest post-credit scene ever of Patrick Wilson like eating a cockroach.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the biggest
same
shit
with the
sandwich.
Flashes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like all these other studios are doing them because they feel like they have to. Will Wicked have a post-credit scene?
Ooh, they better
I
not.
think it probably will.
Once it hits intermission, you put those curtains down and I wait
No, I
another-
think it'll be teasing the next movie a little bit.
you?
and-
That'll be fine if it's
Dune 1
teasing
and
the
Dune
next
2
movie.
didn't have anything.
I will say for these superhero movies that did you?
No.
For the superhero movies, it does feel like a requirement though, and I don't know what that math is to determine what is and what isn't a requirement for them. Because no matter what superhero movie it is, we are going to be seated in those seats no matter what.
Beetle
way
had an
we're in.
awesome one, and then it was like, sorry,
And that's
you'll
the-
never have that.
I don't think even the studios know when not to do it unless the movie is like Blue Beetle or Ironheart or those ones where it's like, oh, we're no longer running the franchise, or Ironheart being like, it shot 3 years ago. Where like that's why I'm like, I don't know. We are on the same page where it's like it needs to be earned, not required, but it's so hard to decipher when it is required.
Agreed.
Yeah. Before we move on to a final ad and some other questions, Dev in the Water asking, what is a post-credit scene that hasn't delivered yet, but you're waiting out for?
I mean,
Like a specific one that we want.
Yeah. No, one that's happened already that hasn't been paid off yet.
I want to see Charlize's thing.
Yeah, I wanna see the Clea.
That's dope.
My
The
fear
Clea
about
one
that
is the
one
biggest
is
one.
I'm like, you gotta show me what they did. I don't want, and that's what you can do in Doctor Strange 3. Do not jump cut to this. I will be
that was
so
crazy, Clea.
mad.
I'll see you next time.
I'll go, Kia. I'm like, no.
What if they're
give me that
instantly,
energy.
they're fighting all kinds of crazy monsters and, it's a
You
I
might be
need the
wondering
story.
how I got here. Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Strange. 10 years ago, I got a pretty fucked up accident.
That one for sure. I also still am hard up for Wakanda Forever. I know that it was more so like a farewell message, but I'm also like, okay, where's Shuri? Where is what's her name?
Toussaint?
the little guy?
Yeah, but I'm almost like
Nakia?
Shuri left, and then so did what's her name that
Nakia?
saved. Is that Nakia?
Yeah, she's the one with the kid, right?
No, not Nakia. From The Walking Dead.
Oh, Denai Guerrero. Okoye.
Okoye.
yeah.
I'm like, where did Okoye now go if Michael, whatever his name is now running Wakanda?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of questions there where I'm like, oh, all these people can all show up in Secret Wars, but they don't have abilities anymore.
Yeah.
Really.
Me and Emmanuel in the chat riding hard for the Moon Knight post-credit scene.
easy.
Jake Lockley showing up, driving the
Easy.
cab. Love that.
Easy.
Love
They're
that.
saving that for this, not for Spotlight, but for Marvel Television.
Yeah.
Anybody that has a gun, put them in Marvel Television. Anyone that uses a gun as a weapon needs to be grounded with Daredevil Born Again.
Captain
And
America used a gun in the first movie.
Put them in.
the first Avenger, he came in blasted.
Could you imagine
Go back and watch it now. It's like, whoa, Cap.
Moon Knight and Daredevil Born Again just being like, well, funny here.
Moon Knight's gonna
Funny
be
you
like
say
Frank
that.
and Always Sunny. Like,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
started blasting everybody. Bam, bam, bam.
That's crazy. You would
My
say
mama
that.
made this monster. Bam, 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 bam.
Well, look here, Kingpin. Can you run from a bullet and just pulls out?
Oh. Dude, if Kingpin gets in a limo, and Born Again.
Oh,
Kingpin gets a limo,
that's
and
the post credit.
comes
And the
in.
window comes down.
Let's go.
And Khonshu's
He's
like,
got that gun.
Khonshu's like, I got replaced by a different voice actor.
No.
F. Murray. Don't
Yeah.
Google it.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean,
what's
if you're a journalist and you have an opportunity to interview Oscar Isaac soon,
Or
start
F. Murray
this
Abraham.
going. Just ask him, is he gonna be in Daredevil?
I feel so bad for any Marvel actor that's been in any Marvel
Anything,
property
right?
because
Yeah.
they will get those questions for 10 years.
Yep.
Andrew Garfield has not been in Spider-Man for like 15 years, and still today he has a smile on his face when he answers our Marvel questions.
I just wanna talk
post-credit tease is Blade talking to Dane.
Biggest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually-
Biggest?
That's supposed to be a whole ass movie.
No,
And that's why
Patton
they-
Oswalt's work is fuck.
That's why they can't outrun that Blade one. They're like
Yeah.
they're like we would have just wiped the idea of Blade if you guys did not get in that post credit scene.
Yeah.
I mean, if
They literally didn't even show him.
The two Eternals post credits, if they end up setting up 3 different characters that never
Never
get
come
seen,
back.
man, wow.
I don't need. To be fair, I don't need
Harry Styles?
I don't
Harry
need the
Styles,
Star
the
Fox,
Fox.
yeah.
I don't need Star Fox, and I don't need whatever that Goat Man was. But I do need Blade.
recast Harry Styles with Austin Butler, and then it's a go.
yeah.
Green light tomorrow.
I still don't care. I never cared
mama.
about him in the comics, but he was also like just a dick in the comics.
Yeah.
That's what's great.
Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, I want to see it, but I have no idea when it could come back. But the Marvels post-credit scene when they're with Beast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That would be, I mean...
That one's definitely coming
That
back,
one's
though.
definitely
I
coming.
mean,
Yeah,
and
but
that one's like
yeah.
a Gordian knot for them to work out. Like, do they want that version of Beast in the next X movie?
I mean, I think in a Secret Wars movie, you want that version.
Yeah.
Whatever kind
Yeah.
of like leftovers from the X-Men franchise, because even Deadpool and Wolverine, which is kind of ending, the Fox X-Men franchise, didn't address some of the big X-Men we all like the most, right? Like Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm. Like, they don't get their moment in that movie. So there's an opportunity to have some of those OG ones show up in Secret Wars.
That's a good one for Tiana Paris, Monica Rambeau to get because she's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know I'm coming back.
Yeah.
like,
That's
that's
the best way to
1000%.
Not the best way to handle it, but a good way is just like, we'll skip some of the middle and bring her back as like a super powered character.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have to go through a whole like origin story.
Last thing here, Sarah Jordan says, give us Al Pacino as Khonshu.
oh, that's a good guess.
I was thinking,
What,
I
you get
want.
2 more years out of the guy? Jeez
And he's so
Louise.
tired. He's so
got
tired.
kids.
I'm not trying to be this person. I thought he was also one of the ones that was like, never be in a Marvel movie. He was like, don't be in a superhero
Al
movie.
Pacino?
Oh,
yeah.
this is not cinema. I mean, he's so closely linked with Scorsese, and
Yeah.
They all say it until
You
the
should-
check.
until
right?
until that check comes
Well,
through.
they might have missed their chance because Al Pacino. So he had like a business manager steal millions of dollars from him, and that's why he made the Jack and Jill Adam Sandler movie.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
there's a famous like Dunkin' Donuts commercial sequence in the middle of that movie.
Right.
It's pretty
Dunkachino.
embarrassing performance for
Dunkachino.
one of our living treasures, Al Pacino.
Dunkachino.
But yeah, the Dunkachino sequence. But he needed the money, and there's a
wild,
long
yeah.
history of great actors being like, I'll never do that.
I mean,
until
Kevin Bacon got
Yep.
screwed over
Bernie Madoff.
by Bernie Madoff and had to make a bunch of stuff he didn't want to make. He's paid it
It
off.
happens.
Nick Cage paid off his tax.
It happens to everybody
Liabilities.
except for MC Hammer. But I was gonna say, because when you said it was F. Murray Abraham, I was like, oh, I didn't even remember that was him. For a minute, I thought it was Richard E. Grant. And honestly, I would love a Richard E. Grant
That'd
as
be
Khonshu.
good. Yeah, he could come
that's
back
a
and
good
do
casting
that.
Too. Yeah, he's great and everything. Okay, one of our sponsors today is Mando. Now, if you've watched this show, you've heard me talk about Mando. Okay, I'm not even reading the prompt right now.
He's
Am
off
I?
book, folks.
Okay, this is off
He could
book.
say anything.
This is a legitimate, authentic endorsement. This is the deodorant I use. Okay, I choose it. I Mary Catherine Gallagher it. Ooh, okay. Mando's whole body deodorant comes in 3 forms. Invisible spray, solid stick, and invisible cream. I love the solid stick. I need to explore the invisible spray and the invisible cream. I haven't explored those yet, but I've been so in love with the stick. Give me the stick. It's sick.
Give me the stick.
Give me the
stick.
stick. It's clinically proven 72-hour odor control. Now, I can attest to this, okay? When I put this on in the morning, and maybe like that's a day where I don't get around to showering, the next morning, 24 hours, ooh, I still smell great, okay? Mando really works. It stops odor before it starts, and it's safe to use on your entire body, your pits, your package, your feet, your noogle, your noggle, your dingle, your doggle,
Whoa.
okay? All places in between, all right? Mando comes in.
All right?
It comes in 4 cologne quality scents, bourbon leather. Mount Fuji is my favorite. It's like a refreshing kind of light scent. Pro Sport and Clover Woods. I'm a big fan of all of the ones I've smelled, but again, Mount Fuji's my favorite. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers or to secure some last-minute stocking stuffers for the stinky boy or girl in your life. Grab...
you can blame that one on Santa, too. You'd be like, honey, I think you smell great, but Santa... I don't know.
Yeah.
He was only here for 30 seconds and he got a whiff of you.
You've been on his naughty and nasty list. You know what I mean?
A level 4 naughty lister? I don't think so.
How hyped are we for Red One?
Oh, I mean, I'm
okay. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and mini deodorant wipes, and free shipping. We have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That's over 40% your starter pack. Use code BREAKROOM at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Don't let BO keep you on the bench. Smell better naked with Mando.
Oh.
And then, of course, check out nerdriot.shop. Brandon, speaking of the Marvels, Brandon's wearing our...
it's a classic Flurkin shirt, baby.
Yeah.
This one had a
It's
back
a front and a
design,
back.
too.
You see their little Flurkin booties.
Now, I pushed for the beeholes on the cats, but it did not get accepted by standards and practice.
Release the beehole cut
Yeah.
of the Flurkin shirt.
Yeah.
Okay. Some last quick tidbits, Evan.
The amount of times I've Googled release the beehole cut.
The amount of time she Googled it.
Oh, boy. Now, all during the series, people were speculating on Boyf, Eddie, right?
Eddie, the boyfriend.
Billy's boyfriend character, because in the comics, his boyfriend is Hulkling.
Mm-hmm.
So people were kind of speculating, is this character going to be Hulkling? And speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Jac Schaeffer said that was who Billy's boyfriend Eddie was supposed to be, but within our show, he is not Hulkling. So it kind of still leaves the door open that character might become Hulkling.
Is Hulkling technically a Skrull?
Yeah, he's not.
But I guess they could change it in the MCU and be like, oh, he got injected with the serum, now he's actually a Hulk.
Well, and I think with that whole thing, they were like, Secret Invasion is kind of a mess. We don't know
we
where...
don't
We're not going to say the scroll word for a little bit. Because, again, I really think in
guess it
the
could
real
be.
timeline, I think Marvel's is supposed to happen before Secret Invasion. But because they changed the release dates and then they just stuck to their guns, they're like, no, it happens in order. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, everything is very confusing there.
There's still a million scrolls on the planet, though, that we know of. So
Right,
you could
but
just reveal
just the
himself
way
as
like
Skrull.
Nick Fury is in those 2 projects. It doesn't seem like the events of Secret Invasion would happen and then Nick Fury would be like goofing around on the spaceship.
No, 100.
Like, it just all seems very weird.
Well, and I also like it. Something I appreciate about the Agatha show, right? Like, other than its connections to WandaVision, this was not a show that was burdened with connecting to the rest of the MCU in any way, right? There's not like random sword agents popping in,
Right.
or even less connection than WandaVision had with Darcy showing up. And
yeah,
Jimmy
they had
Woo
the whole
and-
plot line where we go to Sword headquarters and all that stuff.
I know, and that's what happens when companies let the people that know how to do it.
Right.
Not saying that they don't, but it's like also if you keep your hands off of it, you let the writers just write and cook. Because even in WandaVision, I was like, we didn't need it. Sword.
Yeah.
Was it Sword? Yeah, I was like, we didn't need it. But we also didn't really need like a lot of the extra work they put into to make sure you remember that this is an MCU property. I was like, there's a lot of little things thrown in here that I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm here for Vision and Wanda.
And that's a great point. And it was their first show.
Yeah.
So maybe they were kind of still figuring out what does a Marvel show look like. And maybe they were like,
100%.
hey, remember all these characters, right? They're from the movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're like, let's just tell a nice single story.
Yeah, I think that's Kevin Feige trusting Jac Schaeffer. Being like,
Yeah.
okay, go off, go do your WandaVision, bada bada bing. And then she was like, yeah, here's my team of people and we're going to write a really great show and episode 7 is going to tear everybody's hearts out.
Yeah. Feige was like, you're doing it for how much? You can do
No,
whatever
yeah,
you
he
want.
said, go
yeah.
play.
You do
go
whatever
play.
you want.
He's like, we'll send them all out there. We'll mail them all out there. You're good to
You're
go.
taking $100 million off the budget? You can do whatever you want.
Damn, he would. They probably. I wonder. That definitely played sway in like how much creative control Marvel had. They were like, "Oh, this much money? Go
Yeah.
ahead, do whatever you want."
Yeah, absolutely. Evan?
Yeah.
Sorry, I set you up at a bad point. It's like asking somebody a question when their mouth's full of food. We got a lot of questions about the future of the show
That's your line.
and the future of these characters. Kadosha on Twitter. If a season 2 is greenlit, I wonder what other characters they could bring on the journey. Who would you want to see Billy and Agatha team up with? And this is there's a topical hook to this too, because what were the...
Yeah, Variety had an article today saying that it looks like right now Disney is considering submitting Agatha All Along as a comedy series and not a limited series, which would mean that they are going to do a second season of the show.
They're open to do
a second season of the show. There's a lot of weird...
But that's the contract stuff that everyone's been going through.
Yeah, and there's weird rules to that, right? So the best example we have recently is Shogun, which was announced as a limited series. It was just going to be that one season of the show. Then as the show was going on, there was ruminations about well, it's been successful. They want to do a season 2, even though they're basing it on a book that a whole lot of things. But before they could submit it, they made an official announcement that there would be a second season of that show before, I think right after it wrapped, or right after it was done being aired, but while they were doing Emmy nominations. And because they made that official announcement, they were allowed to submit it as a drama series and not a limited series. And the rules are for the Emmys, you have to either announce that you're doing a second season of the show or show proof that you're strongly considering
the
it.
Emmys are going to fix that loophole so quick because we've been abusing it. Everybody's been abusing it because there's 2 extra categories.
So there's other weird rules to it too. WandaVision was submitted as a limited series. Kathryn Hahn was nominated for Best Supporting in a limited series on that show. There's some rules with the Television Academy about if you're taking characters that exist on one show and putting them in a different show, you can't say it's a different show.
Yeah.
Now, but they've allowed things like Echo to be considered a limited series, even though she showed up in Hawkeye. They allowed the Book of Boba Fett to be a limited series, even though the Mandalorian and Boba Fett showed up in The Mandalorian. But when The Walking Dead tried to submit one of their spin-off shows as a limited series, they were like, no, because you're using the same characters. So there's weird rules all over.
And if you don't follow award stuff that closely, studios are always trying to game this.
I'm so sorry. Okay. I almost broke this.
Show us fell.
Studios are always gaming this. Historically, limited series was an easier category to win.
Because there was less.
There's less limited series. But lately, because so many streaming series are considered limited series, your Beef and things like that actually that's become more competitive.
Yeah.
And the regular series in a lot of years is less competitive, especially if it's a year when there's no Succession and no House of the Dragon or whatever, some of the big players that often scoop up a lot of awards. So they're always trying to angling, and a lot of times they backtrack and they're like, yeah, we said it was limited, and then we give it a second season anyways. And with a lot of the Ryan Murphy stuff, American Crime and Monster and stuff like that, they can get real fussy and be like, no, it's limited, even though we do one of these every year.
Yeah, it's an anthology, but it's
because
different.
Fargo's allowed to be a limited series, right?
Yeah.
Even because they changed the cast.
No, and they're
year.
season 8.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I think
anthology series are weird to be
doing.
doing for, or not anthology, but just it changes the characters, but it's in the same programming. American Horror Story is all American Horror Story, but there's different versions of American Horror Story that have different casts sometimes.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. But if they did do a second season, if they did have to team up with characters, I think I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. I wanted to be Kamala Khan. I wanted to be Miss Marvel because she has that sword notebook that has all the list of people that are doing stuff. So she's like, I know who you are already. We don't need to go through it. I already looked up. I just know that your age is perfect for my team, and you will be the strongest member on my team.
Oh, fun! So you're kind of recruiting.
And they're still in New Jersey area, so it's Kamala can just. Ease on down to Jersey.
It's interesting too because if they are doing this Vision Quest show, they are doing a Vision-based show. That seems like it would be the natural next season, right? If Agatha All Along is a spin-off of WandaVision, then you would continue that story on Vision Quest. Yeah. But I also agree that if you want these characters of Agatha and Billy to come back, I don't want them in the Vision show. I want Agatha All Along season 2 or Agatha and Billy the second season of Agatha All Along.
It's so frustrating because it feels like they're doing what they did with Multiverse of Madness, where I'm I don't think you guys were expecting Agatha to be like this, where Agatha and WandaVision are in tandem. I don't know what Vision. It's again, me and Eric go off about this, but it's throw Mephisto and Ironheart. I'm why do I want a supernatural being with this STEM woman? I don't need this demon to show up. So that's why I'm thinking with Vision Quest. I'm this is a robot computer. And you're gonna throw just Ghost Agatha in there?
Yeah, I would love. I kind of dug that. Lilia and Jennifer and these characters that technically some of those names that shown up in comics, but they're not really comic book characters necessarily,
They're not
right?
household
they're kind
name,
of,
yeah.
for the most part, they're kind of being created for this show, and I love that because we don't know if they're gonna live or die, and we don't know their exact backstory. So like, I wouldn't mind if a next season just has like 7 new witches that different things happen with, right? And there's just kind of like, also if it's just like, the Kung Fu TV show where he's just like walking the earth trying to solve witch crimes, darn. That's fun.
Vision
Which crimes? These crimes.
I mean, also chatters T. Nair and Nick Tarani asking questions about Jen. I mean, it seems like she would be a shoo-in, right, for season 2.
Yeah.
I think she still hates Agatha, and that's why I think it's gonna be hard for them to like bond over it.
Sure. Would she serve as the antagonist, maybe? Then?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I hope not, but I hope that they do like bond her with a new team, and maybe that is where we see like our Midnight Sun start to play into action.
Yeah.
Put her in somewhere else.
One of those interviews with Jac Schaeffer, this may be the one on the Wrap, they asked about Jennifer Kale and like, she clearly survives. Like, did you do that on purpose or did you want to go further with that story? And she was, again, like kind of coy with that one, but like she is, she was very much, we wanted her to get out and to be around. And I know in the comics, Jennifer Kale has like some relation to a ghostwriter.
Oh, Ghost
One of the
Rider.
ghostwriters. So it's like,
I think that's her cousin in one of
I think it's
them.
very smart to leave her alive.
And I mean, they spent the money. The footage came out of like the practical effect.
Yeah, they
flying
actually
her up
lifted
in
her
the
off
sky.
the
They
ground.
had a big old crane that they pulled her.
That's so
Dashiell posted
fun.
it, and she wasn't scared a bit. I said, "Girl, I would start peeing myself."
30 or 40 feet up in the air or whatever,
And then
right?
she's
There's
high.
Girls
and then-
trip when she's on the
That's
zip line and
as
she
you.
starts pissing
That's me.
on her.
That would have been me. I was like, "You guys are out of your mind." They threw her so high in the
They
sky.
did. It was,
Yeah.
and she's
It was-
barefoot.
And
Under
like
my
again,
toes.
they could have stopped that shot with just her
yeah.
peeking up out of the ground. You see the Westview, and she's like, I'm out, right? Boom, cut. They chose to show her flying away,
Yeah, it was
cool.
right, as a lingering, like, ooh, this character's got power, this character's out there.
Also,
this is interesting.
Our girl flies.
Yeah.
Our girl flies. Not a lot of MCU flyers, especially now
No.
that we're getting more grounded. They're
and
mainly just
no
vigilantes.
broom.
No broom.
No broom.
Yeah, I like this
hexenbashing.
comment from Hermes Wormy saying, I hope Jen comes back in something else as a random charter that the
Yeah.
heroes go to for help, and she's an established
100.
witch. It's definitely something I was thinking about the whole series, had everyone survive, that there would be some type of coven that they could go to for help
She
or
has
for
to be-
advice.
Isn't there like some, in the middle, in the act 2 of some upcoming
Yes,
movie,
yeah.
somebody gets shot in the gut or whatever. It's like, hey, we got to get you
We can
healthy
take her
before
to
we
our
continue this
friend.
fight. And then cut to her, candle shot, but she's in the back doing all the
I
work.
love that. Also, 100%. That's like literally in every gangster movie. They're like, we got a guy, and you got to take him to this
To the
like
vet.
to the vet or the Chinese restaurant. And it's like in the back they're
yeah.
sewing up people. I'm like, hell yeah, make that her. But also, I want that rerun of that joke of like, aren't you being sued by like everyone in America? Aren't you on the FBI's wanted list? And she's like,
You can have She-Hulk be her lawyer.
Ooh,
Oh, or Matt Murdock. There's 2 lawyers.
He's a
that we
very
know
good
of.
lawyer.
I think.
I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff that people have been asking about, but I do want to hit some questions now. Like this one from Sarah Hatch-Dorian, regular chatter, of course. Do you think at the end of episode 8, when Billy was able to communicate in Agatha's mind, it meant he could have read her mind if he really tried to? Seemed like he was kind of probing there, but like, what do you think this extent of his powers is going to be?
Well, I would draw a line between being able to brain talk and brain read,
Heck yeah.
right?
True. Yeah.
What about Dwayne Reed?
Great drugstore. Yeah.
Because he's just projecting a message.
'Cause
She allows it to come in.
Did we see any evidence of him being able to read
That's
or
true.
hear other people's thoughts?
It wasn't reading. He said with Lilia, you're talking so loud.
Yeah.
And so maybe it is just simply like, if you're talking in your head, I can hear it.
When he was a little boy in WandaVision, he was like, "You're quiet, Agatha. I can't hear your thoughts."
Yeah.
Like,
I love that.
like that she's strong enough to like block him out. Now she's in the middle of a fight there and is a little woozy and isn't like fully powered up yet. But well, I guess she'd already gotten the magic from Billy at that point. So she could be strong enough to block him out. Yeah, I don't think he could ever read her mind.
And I think you can always like logically write it off as like he's still so young in his
That too.
powers.
He's not good
He's
enough at it
constantly
yet.
kind of discovering the wrinkles of it. Even if he did have that power as a young WandaVision character, he's kind of had to relearn a lot of stuff as an Agatha character, right?
Yeah.
Also,
It'll be-
he was like a hex created being inside of the hex. He was like double powered.
Oh, true. Yeah. He was like power boosting himself or whatever.
Yeah, he's camping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
he's
me at a
He's
Buffalo
camping on the
Wild
spawn
Wings.
point.
Champion.
You're mostly Wild Wings.
That's right. It's my power center. When I'm double fisted.
You were born in a
Chicken
Wild Wings, and you'll die in a Wild Wings.
Something we've kind of talked about in the past, but I think a nice reframing of this. Emmanuel asking, do you think that Rio being death is one of all universes, like America Chavez, or she's the death only on the sacred timeline?
I think she's a death here. We kind of talked about.
Oh boy.
I think also religion still plays a part in the MCU, and since we saw Thor: Love and Thunder and all the different gods have different ways of death. So I don't think she monitors like every single person.
She's
I think there's
Earth pagan death kind of.
Why would Scott Schaeffer? Oh my, who's that?
Jac Schaeffer.
Jac Schaeffer. I don't know who Scott Schaeffer is, but why would Jac Schaeffer want to get into like the different religions in the MCU?
Yeah, and even as Agatha says, right, on Earth there's like 120 people dying every minute or whatever. So it's like death isn't dealing with all that. Maybe it's kind of like a Wi-Fi system where death. You know, the concept of death is the main router, and you have like nest boxes all over the universe, and so there's little mini soldiers of death doing the work of greater capital D death, and they're pulling just they're working their regions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would
the
be
leads
nice.
are good.
It would be nice if like she still does, even if it is 120 or 20 people per minute. It's not like. She's still a spirit, and time, like Lilia said, doesn't make sense. So it's like, she can be in every moment
everywhere.
at once.
Yeah,
but it
she
doesn't.
can slow down time where she needs to slow down, but she's moving at a faster pace. Also, she wants to hook up with Agatha.
Also, you're just taking people over, you're just walking people over. I'm sure, like some people that die naturally are like, oh, I must be going towards that light.
Yeah, Jac Schaeffer made a good point in, I think it was all the interviews. They all run together, but she was talking about like death and how it's like. The way they saw it was Rio's not like claiming the body. She's just there when you die. Like that's a natural process, and she's just there to help you to the next spot. It's not that she's choosing like right now you die, because they talked about they didn't want to have death like you've seen it before where like death is like walking and all the flowers are dying around it. Like she's not causing all this death. She just is there as part of the natural cycle. So it's like, when she comes to get Nikki, it's more that like that was the moment he was going to die. Now she did stay that moment a little. She did what she could to push it, but like that's the moment he was going to die, and she's there to take him.
Right.
And again with like Alice, like death is almost like kind of flippant about it. It was like, well, you were a protection witch.
Yeah, you did it.
It happened. I was there. You saw it. I didn't make it happen. Like you did it. You died.
Two final questions here, or points rather, here from the chat. JDog XXY saying just Madison. There was that comment from Jac Schaeffer that they try to get Madison from She-Hulk in the show. She was like, it felt like shoehorning. Would have been shoehorning. It would have been shoehorning,
but it is a woman's show.
Yes, that's
and
true.
Women support women,
and a fan favorite character.
Fun character to bring. Not even like out of fun. It would have been crazy, but I'm like, it also logistically, if you watch She-Hulk, made sense to bring back this supernatural person now.
Yeah.
But I was like. That actress, Patricia, I can't pronounce her name. I can't remember her name. I don't even know her Instagram handle because it's like Patricia Biscuit. She is a sketch comedian, improviser from the Groundlings, and she is an amazing comedic woman. And I know Jac Schaeffer was like, we thought about it. We wanted to put her in it. She would have been great.
By Agatha's house at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
What's in the basement?
Oh, yeah. Patty Guggenheim. That's a good tag there. Yeah, I like that.
She's amazing.
Or she shows up with Wong, right? Wong shows up to clean up all the magic mess, and she's like, what are we doing, Wong?
I just want her to show up with a little message and be like, the goat gave me this. Bye. Bye. And then runs away.
Final question. There might be a tease for maybe a longer episode that we'll do either this week or next, but Shri asking, how many projects in 2026 do you think? We got that tease last week where there'll be 8 projects next year, I think 8 or 9.
4 live action. Well, so there's Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, Wonder Man, and then there's What If season 3 is this year.
Yeah.
Next year we'll have Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Marvel Zombies, and Eye of Wakanda. So there's 6 next year, 3 live action, 3 animated. I mean, 2026 has to have X-Men 97 season 2, right?
I would think they would want to have.
Yeah. If they're doing it, they have.
They're going to try.
We know it was written, and I believe they started like doing voice recording.
I think so. Yeah.
Season 1.
So there's that. I know we are.
Also,
I mean, we don't have to count it all out right now. But, we're running a little
Vision
long.
Quest, X-Men 97, both of those probably penciled in for 26.
Is Doom and that not coming out in 26?
Doom is Doomsday is 26.
July.
But
Yeah,
do you
and
think they
film,
keep up this cadence, right? Like, it looks like there's going to be a lot next year. Do you think at the end of next or midway through next year, they're like, are people like this? Are people getting tired of this? Do we
And
slow it down?
It depends on how Eyes of Wakanda does and
True.
how Marvel Animation does.
Yeah.
Because if it does not do that well, they will not come back full force with more animation that might not do.
I mean, Marvel Zombies been waiting. That's been in
Marvel
the
Zombies-
can for the
Well,
longest
Ironheart,
time.
Marvel Zombies, right? Those have been in the can for a while, or in some phase of development. I think like this is a remnant of the strikes and different things pushed a lot of projects to next year. Otherwise, this year we only had one animated show and one live action show, right? All of 2024. We're going to get one more animated show before the end of the year. But like, I bet it's somewhere in between. We're never going to have another year with 6, but we'll also never have another year with 2.
We
right?
also had Echo this year. But
Sorry,
that was
Echo at the very
January.
beginning.
Dropped
we-
all at once.
We do have two animated and 2 live action. Actually, that's probably about the average, don't you think?
Yeah.
They'll probably aim for about 2 live action and 2 animated every year.
I think so. That's a good guess.
And maybe if they keep having success like X-Men 97 with the animated stuff, maybe even more animated over time.
I think they'll. I think they want to go more animated because it's live action does too, but animation sells that merch so well because kids want those toys.
But that is where I think Marvel Studios has had like the roughest time keeping to timelines is with the animated stuff because they've realized that this takes way longer than we thought it was going to take. Both seasons of What If had an episode that didn't get finished in time.
Yes.
It got bumped to the next season.
And I mean, hey, they're not the only ones. Talk to Amazon about getting Invincible out, or talk to Cartoon
Rick and
Network,
Morty
or
takes
whatever,
forever
right?
to get that done.
They said the Simpsons made it look easy. Both creators made it look easy.
Yeah.
South Park found a trick where they're like, we can do one in 7 days.
Yeah, the South Park was like, hey, we were doing this by hand. Now we realize we don't, and we can still make it cheap.
I mean,
Yeah.
selfishly here in New Rockstars, we're like, can you do 20 projects in a year? The more the better. But like probably for a mix of quality control, storytelling, all these kinds of things, right? Yeah, it feels like if we could get one project a quarter, if they go about 8 weeks, so we kind of get 2 months on, 1 month off, is kind of the pattern going forward, alternating between animation and live action. That's a nice cadence, So even if a show comes along, you're like, it's not for me. You don't have to wait that long till something will come along that is for
100%.
you.
Yeah, for sure.
We're also still waiting for Doctor Strange 3 and a Shang-Chi 2. I
Yeah.
forgot about just as a 2. Those might not come out until 2027, honestly.
Man, I wish What If Season 3 came out earlier so I could be Shang-Chi Cowboy for Halloween.
I want to be Shang-Chi
That one's going to have to wait for a
Cowboy.
whole year. Come on.
I mean, we didn't get enough of the look to tell, like, is he just full cowboy? Are there still some Shang-Chi elements to the outfit? Are there some gauntlets or some whatever?
That's the best part of What If is putting these characters in those crazy costumes. In What If Season 2, when they went to, like, the Renaissance or whatever, and they were just dressed up. I was like, these are all characters at the Ren Fair, but it is so hard to recreate these outfits, so I'm not going to do it. But a Shang-Chi cowboy, I got you. Easy. Easy.
Yes.
Like a Shang-Chi cowboy.
Ding, ding.
Do you think that episode's going to have, like, a bunch of cowboy
They
Avengers?
did say one of the episodes would be like a Western.
Who's your top other Avenger that's a cowboy
Top Avengers?
that you want to see in that vibe?
I mean, I kind of want like Hella doing a Sam Raimi-esque Quick and the Dead. Sharon Stone, was it in Quick and the Dead?
I mean, is Hawkeye too easy just because he's already got
He's already a farm. And he also has a farm.
He is already a cowboy. What am I talking about? Yeah.
Maybe in this universe, like Hawkeye, they blinded Hawkeye because they're like, he's too good.
Yeah,
But he's still that good, even blind.
Who's the sheriff of the Avengers West? Like,
I mean, is it Nick Fury?
It's Obadiah Stane, baby.
That would be actually fun because the sheriffs were always working with the bad guys anyways to help them get in and out. Oh my God, that's so fun. I love that.
I'm excited for that. It's all coming up. We think they're releasing one episode per day. I
They
think.
did say in the press release, December 22nd would start they're doing what they did last year, where one a day.
They told that to the
December
press
22nd.
people that have to talk about it every single day over Christmas, and everybody in press goes,
They're like,
My
do
family.
you have a nice, loving family? Too bad. You're going to be on YouTube talking about
What
Marvel
if
shows.
you watched a new episode of animation every day?
And,
We gotta go.
okay, I think on that note, that's it for us today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel. Evan, do we have plans for the rest of the week? I know we're still kind of waiting on some stuff to come together.
Yeah, I think so. But keep an eye out. Probably Thursday and Friday we'll be streaming. Maybe Wednesday if the news is good, depending on the news.
Blame it on the news.
And if you're not caught up with Penguin, catch up this week.
Yeah.
The finale
Finale's
is this Sunday. Jessica's going to have the breakdown up on the channel probably Monday morning of next week, right?
Yeah.
That show is so good. Again, if you're not caught up, binge that bad boy.
Yeah.
It's getting nasty.
We'll talk about the whole
the
whole series here on Monday too. Try to figure, look back at the series, how it surprised us, where it's going to go going forward. Because I think Batman 2 is going to be like closely connected. Will be like within a year, I think, in the world.
Look, I understand that we kind of get that version of the Penguin with like Daredevil Born Again, but we always were going to get that kind of version with Daredevil Born Again. I want to see the Fantastic Four live in that kind of world of the Penguin. Where people are getting shot. That astronaut ship actually blew up in the sky. I want to see such
Keep stretching him. See how far he stretches. I'll stretch it till he splits wide open.
I know they can't because of Disney, but I'm like, ooh, if they got that dark, just like crazy, they're like, let's actually talk about our mental health for a minute with every character here.
If the MCU was in Matt Reeves' Batman universe, right? The first way they would have beaten Thanos is with the Ant-Man plan.
Yeah, with up his butt.
Forget all these other plans. Put Ant-Man up his butt.
He's like, I don't want to do that. No, well, you're going to do it. You're going to do it or we're going to break your legs.
Yeah.
What are you
nasty kills on this show and just the unexpected getting shot in the head type of things.
I was going to say, it is Sophia just like unbothered shooting someone in the head, being like, you're talking too much. And I wish you would have been quiet.
It's a heavy show. Every once in a while we get a message like, hey, can you watch the language on the break room? I watched your show with my 9-year-old kid. Do not watch Penguin with your 9-year-old kid. Okay? Trust the TVMA when it shows up in the corner. Okay, The show is heavy, but damn, if you're of consenting age, watch that show.
It's just violent.
It's violent. Okay.
No sex.
And I think that whenever the quote came out, like however many F-bombs it's had like over 300 F-bombs so far in the series.
200, yeah.
Love it. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe here to the Breakroom for so you know what's coming up. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody watching in the live chat. We appreciate everybody that leaves comments. So many great fun theories came out of our after shows of Agatha. A lot of people leaving great speculation, a lot of which came true or didn't come true, but we appreciate everybody's engagement over the course of that series. That was really fun for us here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, that's it. Have yourself a good one, everybody. We're off.
See ya.